What up, guys? So on weekend I was fortunate or unfortunate enough to get Galleus Bloodcrest, or Rooster as people commonly call him in Raid. And obviously, not the champion I wanted, but I also heard many people in comments that they also happened to pull him, and some were super sad about it, some were kind of, it is what it is. Couple people were even contemplating quitting the game. That happens when you pull Mythic Champion, which you might only get like once every year or less than that, and it turns out to be one of the worst possible ones. That definitely does suck. And I don't think, Galleus and Aphidius, the two ones that I pulled, both of them suck, to be clear, but both of them are clearly more meant for Hydra. Very unfortunate, because I think there's like one other there's like one other, I'm so jinxing myself, there's like one other Mythic Champion that is meant for Hydra, and it's Calamitus. Like if that's the third mythical that I pull in like a year, I'm gonna quit. That's gonna be so sad. I'm gonna cry about it. And there was one guy that was messaging me about quitting, and he literally has three mythic champions, and it's those three. And I feel so bad for him. I already feel bad for myself, but he even topped me, and he also pulled the other crappy Hydra champion. The thing is that even though these champions are meant for Hydra, first of all, as PvP players, we don't really care about it that much. But it's not like they're even top tier on Hydra, or even remotely close to that, because obviously Tranda teams are literally gonna be like hundreds of times better. So even though they may be intended for Hydra, that doesn't mean that they dominate Hydra. But so we got Galleus. I'm gonna use him in PvP, not Hydra. He's not top tier for PvP, but it's better than not having him, and it's better than the alternatives I would. So on this video, we're gonna kind of gear him, see how I would build him, and then kind of, try to give some pointers about that. People often ask me to make guides about gearing champions, and I have made some guides like how to use the optimizer and so on, but generally I don't tend to make videos about takeovers because they are super time consuming and tedious. But we're only gonna do one champion, so I think that's okay. I think this is probably still gonna be kind of long and maybe tedious for some people. But okay, so we got Galleus Bloodcrest. We want to use him for PvP. What he does do with his abilities is that he has some debuffs, and some irrelevant debuffs like provoke and decrease speed and Hydra stuff. But the relevant stuff that he has is on the second form. He does have a buff strip, basically. Decrease turn meter, decrease skill duration or buff duration, basically a buff strip. He has that on one skill, and then decrease defense on another skill. The biggest issue is that he doesn't have increased defense. If this skill also did increase defense for him, then we would be talking. Technically he does have increased defense on the first form, but that skill doesn't do any damage, and it doesn't provide him any extra turn or anything like that. So ideally you would literally never use this skill on Galleus. But on the second form he has kind of some decent utility, and he's not gonna be locked out from this form, so we might get to use these skills, and maybe we can do defense buff from Mithril or something like that. So maybe we can make it work. We'll try and see. But basically what we want here is maybe a little bit accuracy, since he doesn't ignore resistance, though he does book that I think on multiple skills. And also, as you can see, I'm currently unbooked on him. I don't think I'm gonna book him right now, but I will certainly consider doing that later if I fall in love with him, which probably I won't. But yeah, we want some accuracy, we want some damage, we want very high speed, preferably, and maybe some like stone skin or other utility things that we might possibly do. And obviously we're gonna, you know, use the optimizer, so we know what we want to do, but we're not gonna go through every single gear and we're gonna let it calculate, and we just know what thresholds that we want. But first, let's take a look at the masteries. Now, like I said, we want some accuracy on him. So I think, obviously we're gonna go for offense 3. That's a given. Actually, let's pull up the raid, bro. If you're ever like thinking about masteries, there's a good website. I mean, it's basically what you have in game, but Raid Pro kind of gives very good thing that you can see the masteries and uncheck them and so on. I often try like do the masteries on this first and then actually do it in the game, but of course you probably already know what you want. But basically the options are here that either we go offense and defense or offense and support, and usually people still go offense and defense, even though the accuracy from support 3 sounds super attractive, because you can get a couple things here. You can get the 8% decrease damage taken on crit, which is the biggest damage mitigation that you can get from masteries. It's actually very impactful. You generally want to take this mastery on almost every single champion, but on these specific instances, we are a defense scaling nuker, we probably still want to go with the tough skin and get the 75 extra defense. We can still get 5% AoE damage reduction, but that's a lot less than 8, and it's not always gonna apply. But basically, we already know the main things that we want to get here, like the tier 6 mastery. It's obviously gonna be Helm Smasher, and we wanna go on a route with that. And we ideally would want some accuracy, but I prefer to go with the defense 3. I would go on occasion on some champions with this, but let's say Wukong. If you have a nuke Wukong, I would go support and offense 3, but I do favor the improved parry from defense 3 generally. So we're gonna go with this. Now, the shield breaker mastery, often people ask about it. I'll try to be fast, but you know, this is gonna take time if we try to go through things in detail and give proper explanations to people. But people often ask about this mastery, like probably literally more than 100 times I've been asked about this, and I'm sure in official Discord people have asked about it thousands of times. I wish Plarium would put proper tooltips that explain the skills in details, but you get extra damage against shields or inflicted to targets under shields, and this description is very deceptive. First of all, if they have a shield and you ignore it, you're not gonna get the damage. And if you do, like, let's say that you do like a big hit and you destroy the shield and also do damage, this extra damage is only gonna apply to the damage inflicted to the shield, like the shield itself. Even if the same ability kills the shield and then does some more damage, it's not gonna apply to the rest of it. So it's deceptively not as good as it seems. It's still decent. This is not terrible mastery, but it's not as good as it seems. And on the rooster, we do have basically a buff strip ability, so you could almost not consider using it. Though if we look at the specifics here, this order is very important. Attacks all enemies and then decreases the duration of the buffs. So we're not gonna remove the buffs before we attack, so you could go with that mastery on Galleus. Well, okay. Wrong tab, my bad, here we go. So anyways, you could consider going with this mastery, it's totally an option, but first we could take the most critical things and then we can kind of check what the side things that we want to get. This is, by the way, these two are often like usually people go for a shield breaker because they want to get Ruthless Ambush, which gives 8% damage on the first hit on each enemy. This is a very good ability. It doesn't really work on all champions, but it's a very good one. So usually if you go with Ruthless Ambush, then that's why you're kind of gonna take shield breaker, but it's not something that you often really want to go out of your way to do it. And the other really good mastery here on this tree, I mean, we're always gonna go with single out, so that's on the way to the Helm Smasher that basically everybody is always gonna pick. The other good one is Whirlwind of Death, that gives you speed on kills. I generally prefer this one, but it depends on champion. On some champions, if you have one hard-hitting nuke that hits once, I would go with Ruthless Ambush, especially if it's like a squishy champion in 4-piece Stone Skin or something like that. But yeah, let's go with the Whirlwind of Death. Cycle of Violence, have a chance to reduce the cooldown of abilities. You generally want to take this on every single nuker ever, almost. I can't even think of any exception. You're always gonna go with that. And Bring It Down increases the damage inflicted to targets with higher max HP. People often ask me if you want to use this on HP scaling champions like Narses, but generally you don't need damage against the enemy nukers, but their supports, and chances are that the supports are gonna have higher HP than even your HP scaling nukers. Not always, but pretty often. So I would pretty much always go with Bring It Down as well. And Kill Streak, I think, is one of those ones that you get extra damage on kill permanently, and I don't think there's really any. Probably there's some exceptions, but generally you always go with this. The other one is that Methodical, which gives extra damage on A1. Some champions that rely on the A1 a lot, Garrel for instance, you would always go with this on those champions, but we don't really need it on him. So this is like the most important parts that we want to get, and we can think about the rest of the later. As far as the defense tree goes, the mid-tier masteries here are not that impactful on nukers, but between Shadow Heal and Resurgent, other one healing us and other one having a chance to remove debuffs if we take damage, we definitely want to go with Resurgent on nuker always. And I guess Delay that the other ones don't really matter here. And generally on every champion that you go on support tree, you want to go with Cycle of Revenge, which has a chance to give you extra turn meter. The only situations where you wouldn't go with this one is on champions where you specifically build them slow and don't want to get any speed or turn meter, like Ultimate Dead Knight for instance. Apart from him, there used to be more champions that you build slow, but I don't think these days you really want to build anybody else except UDK slow. But we're gonna go with that one and Retribution, where we might counterattack. Deterrence is very good too. On some champions you might want to pick one of these other what are they, tier 4 masteries just to be able to pick Deterrence. Maybe on somebody like Wukong, you might stun the enemy if they CC somebody on your team. But yeah, we're gonna go with those. We're gonna go with those. Then we have a couple extra options left, so we could go with one of the defense ones, but since we are nuker, especially if you have 4-piece Stone Skin, by the way, I would definitely go with the Heart of the Glory. I don't think I do, so I think we're gonna go with the Shield Breaker though, but this is very optional and it really depends what you pick. And I think that's it. We already picked all of the masteries, so that's our base. Maybe a little bit long-winded explanation, but that's how I think about it, and that's how I recommend it for you guys as well. And now that we have it, we can easily just quickly copy those and go with that. If somebody disagrees with me and feel like you definitely should go with the support tree, then feel free to make your arguments in comments, but that's what we're gonna do today. Okay, now we got masteries. Actually, I have pulled a blessing on him. Sadly, it's 4-star. It's kind of, let's see, 4-star, I mean 3-star. 3-star is kind of unfortunate because we would get a lot extra damage on 4-star blessing. Where can I see the stats? Yeah, there. So we get HP, attack and defense. Now 75 defense, 750 defense is huge, of course. But we would get the 45% crit damage if we just had one more star, and you obviously can get split souls on mythic champions. I don't think you can even put them on the wish list, can you? Yeah, you can't even put those on wish list, so you get what you get. What do I actually have? Nah, I have 3. I really want to get nice, but I also only have 3-star soul on him. I would have 5-star on Galatir, but actually it does matter on him. Like on Nukers, you really want to get 4-star, but on somebody like Galatir or Grixia, where they scale both from accuracy and resistance, having 5-star soul is huge. We don't really even need 6-star soul on Galatir. All we need to do is pull him, but okay, what blessing do we want to go on Rooster? It's very situational. If you build accuracy and if you have 6-star polymorph, you would want to go with that. I don't think we're gonna build enough accuracy on him to justify the polymorph, but maybe we will look at it after we're done with the build and then we will change it. But I would probably say that you don't have like any insanely good options if you don't have 6-star blessing. You're kind of left with some utility ones that maybe you want to go with where is it? Heaven Cast if you have some buffs on your team and can increase the damage, or maybe you just go with Lightning Cage and you might protect immunity, or maybe you just go with Soul Reaper, maybe finish some kills at some points, but none of these are really a big deal. The polymorph is the big one for a basic nuker. Now, the next step that I would do on gearing him is that first I would look at if you can get 4-piece stone skin, and I'm pretty sure I can, but let's double check it. I always forget to do this, but let's move myself on the middle so that you can see the stats properly. But if we take a quick glance, do we have defense scaling banner or ring on a stone skin? And we don't. Oh wait, we have some. I think I got this 5-star one like recently. I thought I couldn't do stone skin, but honestly I probably would go with the 5-star stone skin. Well, no, oh, that's wrong faction. Fuck me. We moved too far. I already thought that I had gotten it, but now okay, I knew it. We don't have stone skin on Galleus, which sucks. I really would want to put him on a stone skin. I do have some. I could put it on an attack scaling nuker, but not defense scaling one, and I can quickly show you that I have reworked all of the relevant ones, except I probably don't want to rework this ring, since it's kind of usable on attack scaling nukers. So with this amulet, which I totally would use even as a 5-star one, we're like 1 piece of gear off for getting a 4-piece stone skin and 4-piece lethal combination. But since we're not able to do it, then you can't help it. We're not gonna build stone skin, and in that case we want to look at the reaction. I think I probably have to have some reaction on him. Damn. I have some, but it's not super good. I could potentially chaos or some pieces. This doesn't even have like speed roll, so okay, there's no way we would use him, but I'm pretty sure. Oh, this is already reworked. Fuck. I was gonna say that I'm gonna chaos or this piece, but nah, we're not gonna do it. I think this piece is kind of brick, to be honest. You could almost sell it, but I'm gonna keep it anyway. Fuck, do we not even have like reaction? Maybe we will chaos or some pieces, but let's see. This amulet with no extra rolls on defense is very unfortunate, but I might have to use it. But we're 1 piece off for stone skin, so I will go with that when we get it. I'm seeing if I have any good pieces that I could try to chaos or... Wait, did I chaos or like everything? Okay, I have chaos or practically everything that you have on this faction. Oh, we have a crit damage amulet. I don't have enough materials to get it done right now. Okay, we didn't get lucky. I'll try to get that for the tomorrow's video, where I'm probably gonna play some live arena with him. But yeah, today we're just gonna test him out with normal amulet. But okay, so we're kind of in between on the accessories, and I'm probably gonna change those very soon. If I just get like 1/2 usable stone skin piece, I'm gonna change that like in 2 days. And the same applies with the accessories. We're gonna fine tune it afterwards, and I'm gonna dust the amulet. But for now we don't need to put any special rules for those, and we can just normally look for the highest damage build that we can get on optimizer. Wait, what was the Galleus? I keep saying Marius. Okay, so by the way, I have done a video about optimizer where I show you how to build champions for both damage and like support or tankiness for PvP. I go through all of the options, but let's do a quick rundown here too. So the first thing that you would choose is the damage mode on a nuker. This makes it very good because now it's gonna differentiate. It's automatically gonna calculate the highest damage. You don't even have to choose any specific sets. It will automatically take into account defense, ignore, and stuff like that. And if you have some specific skill that ignores defense, you could go with that, and that way, oh yeah, you can choose the different forms here, sure. That way, let's say that the A2 would ignore defense, you could calculate the damage for that specific skill, and the build will be slightly different because of the ignore defense, but we don't have any of it, so it doesn't matter. Then here you can, on the configure part, you can choose different masteries that you have, and you can choose if you take gear from champions that already have our build. Actually, what we can do here is that let's unlock all of my champions. Now we're even gonna steal gear from Staldus and go with that. Later on, you can lock specific champion and make sure that it doesn't calculate any of their gear, and you can tick these options to get what you want. You can also have masteries already on your champion and change them here, and it will calculate, like, let's say you want to go with 75 attack instead of crit rate, you could switch this up and it would automatically calculate it, but we are gonna go with these. As far as the defense, I recommend to put like 4500 defense. That's usually what you're gonna see on supports in live arena or PvP. Some might have higher on supports and some might have lower, but soft cap is 4.2k, and often they're gonna be a bit overcapped. And we can also calculate the damage for the defense buff, taking into account that we have it, even though we're not always gonna have it, and it's gonna affect the build often more than you think, actually. For like what's the optimal one. We're gonna start out with 250 speed and maybe work our way up from there and see what we get. I'm also gonna set the loops to 5 speed because I'm not gonna use any better clips on speed and that on him. And you could choose specific sets, like it's gonna take a lot more time to calculate if you don't choose any specific sets, but maybe on some accounts you actually have better build without lethal set than you have with that. I know it sounds shocking, but if you have really good pieces on other sets and not on lethal, actually many people have it like that. I just recently, when I did a takeover was the case. On somebody's Lazarus, it was hitting harder on broken pieces with I think 2-piece cruel than 4-piece lethal. But I have a lot of lethal. I already know that it's gonna be the best build with lethal, and it's just gonna be faster to calculate this. So we can also take a look at some battles in a second, but often the optimizer kind of... Okay, this was pretty fast since we put the lethal set, otherwise it would have been... It could have been a lot slower. Now it's giving me some build options, and it's taking my Knut piece. I'm kind of torn on that because I don't really want to steal the helmet from Knut and regear him, but I honestly almost could do it. So the first build seems pretty good. We get some accuracy on helmet instead of defense, which is not that bad since we need accuracy anyway. As you can see, this is basically like a high damage build, not really going for that much speed, and we have lots of like, you know, crit rate and crit damage on the substats, not like speed on everything. I think the ultra endgame players these days, they want to have like multiple speed rolls on every piece and go as fast as possible, and we probably want to build him fast too, so we can take a quick snapshot and see that with this build we would have 7.2k defense and 315 crit damage. And how much would we lose those if we put out the speed a little bit faster? I'm gonna save that on another tab so I can compare it. Oh fuck, did I misclicked there? Okay. By the way, if you have any questions about Optimizer, hit me up. People often ask about it. It's a very good tool, sometimes a little bit confusing and complicated, but it's so much better than trying to do this on yourself. Even if you put a lot of time and effort into it, you're not able to do it as well as computer can. It is what it is. Okay, so now we got two different... can I get them on the same picture? We got two different like sets of data here. We have one with 10 more speed, and we can kind of compare how much stats we lose. So on the first one we have 7.250 defense. On the second one we have 100 less defense, 311 crit damage, and only like 4 more on the first build. So between these two I would most certainly go with the first one. But one thing that now comes to my like glares into the picture that I totally forgot about it is that we do want some accuracy. Maybe not that much, but we do want some accuracy. So let's set a minimum accuracy threshold on him and see how that changes things. Let's put 300. I think that's enough. We don't need to buff strip the supports, they might have a lot more, so 300 is generally gonna be enough to put debuffs and buff strip the nukers. You could maybe go somewhere between 400, but I wouldn't really go more than that because we don't want to sacrifice too much damage. I hope I didn't my fat face wasn't in the middle of any stats anymore. Okay, now it's taking a lot longer time to calculate since we're putting more conditions on the build. Let's go back to the in-game. Did I have anything else that I need to do on him? But yeah, if you get the 5-star, you would also get the accuracy, so maybe even 5-star on accuracy scaling nuker would kind of be useful. But if we quickly take a look at his skills that do debuffs, on the first form he has decreased speed and provoke. We don't care about these at all, that's all he has. And on the second form, he has the buff strip and decreased defense. So these two we do kind of want to land, so we do want a little bit of accuracy. Now he does have ignore accuracy boost on his skills, and that's very impactful. And accuracy does have like inherent 42 advantage on resistance. So let's say that we get like 400 accuracy on his build. That's gonna be equal that you have like a 50-50 chance to land against enemies with 442 resistance. And if they have 442 resistance, then they're pretty much building for it at that point, and you don't really usually have more than like little bit 400 plus on like on accident. Like if we quickly take a look at my supports that are not built for resistance, my Duchess that is +2 and has 6-star blessing, we are 361 resistance. So this is very normal and common on supports, even if they're not built on it. But let's say that we have like 320 accuracy on him, then we are pretty often gonna land debuffs even on my Duchess, and I think that's gonna be good enough. Time to get some little bit energy drink in on, because I'm using my voice a lot. We're gonna power through these long and tedious guides with the power of Mega Force energy drink. The choice of all of the little kids in Finland, because it's the cheapest possible energy drink brand. Not that I'm like, you know, slumming out here, but I don't really like to waste money, which is why I'm not super big fan of buying shards, even though I have, and I feel bad about it every time. It's not like I couldn't do it. It's not like I couldn't buy more expensive energy drink, but my thoughts about it are these. Like, there is flavored energy drinks that I like, but my local store doesn't have them, so only if I go to some other retail store, or whatever you call it in English, food store, then I will buy those. But if I'm gonna buy a plain old flavorless energy drink, like comparing this to like, I don't know, Red Bull or whatever brand you want to call it, it's gonna cost more than twice than this does. The small can of energy drink, small can of Red Bull is gonna be more than twice the price of this, and both of them are gonna taste like crap, and there's no difference. So if I'm already buying the unflavored one, then I'm gonna buy the cheapest one every time. And not condoning energy drinks, you know. People often don't think about it or don't want to admit it, or maybe older people don't understand. But obviously energy drinks are not good for you. I mean, everybody understands that part, but they are a drug. People often don't think caffeine as a drug, but it's a drug. Don't do drugs. You know, there are some consequences, but I do abuse a little bit of my energy drinks. I don't really drink coffee or use any other drugs, but I do resort into my energy drinks fairly often. Anyway, so this is the build that we're getting. I think we're kind of gonna have to run it twice, honestly, because if we would wait, what wasn't this with new minimum accuracy? What's up with that? Did I misclick somewhere? I thought, oh fuck, I put 300 maximum accuracy. Okay, that's a blooper. Don't do what I just did. I'm gonna cut this out and skip on this, but okay, let's put 320. I'll be right back when it calculates, and we're gonna go with that build. I'm maybe later gonna run it a couple times since it takes like 5 minutes, and okay, now it's faster. Okay. Yeah, I'm probably gonna run it a couple times and maybe refine it. That's what you need to do. Like, you go 10 speed up and down, and you see if you gain or lose a lot of damage. And if you really want to, you know, min-max the builds on your account, then you often you can resort to this and it makes sense. But the big limiter these days is gonna be the accessories, because you pretty much always want to have your champions in some kind of special set, be it stone skin or reaction or protection, or like, you know, these days it might be pinpoint accessories or basically anything. On attack scaling nukers, maybe slayer accessories. If you get like 2p slayer on them, you're gonna gain like insane amount of damage, so those are often gonna limit your options and you might not have a lot of wiggle room to go up and down in speed, but I generally do. Okay, so as you can see, we lost quite a chunk of damage to get this 320 accuracy. It does make sense, the build is way worse now. Let's see if we go like dial it down and go 10 speed down and maybe 300 accuracy. I think we're probably gonna get a lot stronger build at this point. But yeah, this is basically in essence, and I know it's like, this probably took me like 20 minutes or something like that, but this is how you go through this. This is why takeovers take insane amount of time if you really put your mind and heart into them and try to do the best possible builds. I'm not a big fan of takeovers, you know, I do them for money if people ask about it, but I don't really try to advertise it because I actually don't really like doing it all the time, and I waste way more time doing those takeovers than people might realize, and it's often not even worth the effort, to be honest. Keeping it 100% here, but if I ask you like $75 for a takeover, which might sound a lot, and then it takes me like, you know, 7 hours to gear your champions, it's not really worth the time doing them, so keeping it 100% here. I know you could do this a lot faster if you don't try hard it like I do, but I would feel bad if I didn't. So this is the final build that we're gonna go with. We're gonna go steel gear from both Stalus and Helicat. I'm good with that. I know I can regear both of them, and we might not use the Stalus on next video, so we're gonna go with this. But if you don't want to go with this, then you can just lock out these champions and it will calculate the same build without using their gear. But we do want to put the best possible gear that we can on Galleus, so we're gonna go with this. Oh, fuck, I forgot this happens. They have this weird thing that on the optimizer, if you just change it to different tab, I don't know if it has to do with the optimizer or with the, let's do it here, or with the web browser. It might be the web browser and not the optimizer, but if I change it to different screen, it will like it will go out of the it will reset and I have to calculate it again, so we're gonna have to do that. But okay, give me a sec. Okay, so now we're finally done gearing, and this is what we got, as you can see, and with those parameters that I was talking about. Now there's some peculiarities in this build that we can quickly go through, so that it makes sense. But like I said at the start of the gearing process, ideally I would put him in 4p stone skin, and I would sacrifice a lot of damage to do that. But since we don't have 4p stone skin, the optimizer was calculating for highest damage, and you might be very weirded out that we have 2p scroll here. I have explained this many times. I actually have made multiple videos where this is the main topic, but it's kind of less relevant right now because 4p stone skin is just a big priority over maximum possible damage. But literally 2p scroll, the 5% ignore defense is a lot better than even 20% crit damage. So Cruel set is the best 2p set damage wise for every style of nuker. That includes both defense and HP scaling champions. And if you have way better gear on like a defense set or crit damage set, it might be better, but there is a big gap. So if it's like one roll less, then Cruel 2-piece is still generally gonna be significantly better than 2-piece crit damage. But as you can see, we have pretty good build. The weapon can't have defense, so this is still a pretty good one. Not the right ascension, but I don't think we're gonna change it right now. Everything else, as you can see, we're rocking like perfect pieces, basically, you know. That's the strong part about my account. I have very good nuke gear, but I'm not fast and I don't have mythical, so those two aspects kind of keep me down. Or, you know, not just mythicals, but any of the other top champions. I wish I could put this gear on Harima. We could break the house. Okay, this amulet we need to clip and max out. And do I want to... I think we can use one 6-star clip for him. Fuck it. I don't often really need 6-star defense clips, so I don't really mind wasting them a little bit. But usually I might use 5-star on mediocre pieces and support champions. Also, as you can see, the optimizer was taking into account all of the set bonuses, and on many of these new variable sets, like the Slayer set, or originally as it was called Ratalos set, you actually get 5% crit rate on 1-piece set, and if you really want to go for max damage, then maybe you would have like 4-piece lethal, 2-piece cruel, and 3-piece Slayer set. That would be like the best you can go. Well, I guess full Slayer set can situationally be better, but if you just want one hit to do the most damage, this would be the ultimate build. In practice, though, like I said, you want to get the stone skin. But this is actually a very good piece. It both gives us accuracy and we get the extra crit rate, and we already had the ascension. I think I was using this piece on my Nuke Wukong when I was using it. And we're actually running accuracy banner. Now you could go with defense banner too for more damage, but I think we want to go with the accuracy and this one. So we're gonna go with that. And now that I think about it, we have 300 accuracy. I think with this build it's actually worth for us to go with polymorph. So I mentioned that at the start of the video, but we're gonna go with the polymorph. And now we have a completed Galleus build. This is how I would go at building it. I hope you guys found this helpful. Maybe you can do something like that, something like this, or get some useful pointers from this gearing process, even though it was super long and tedious. What up, guys? I'm adding this part after I already did the video, but like I said on the video, I'm gonna run it a couple more times, and I actually decided to go with 4-piece stone skin with attack gloves. Attack ring. It is what it is. We lost a little bit damage in order to do this, but I think it's probably still better to go with the 4-piece stone skin. So I think we're literally gonna go with this build. Let me show you it from here, so you can get the better visual image. I'm not sure if I'm gonna go with the reaction banner or not. I could go with the Revenge one that has way more speed but less defense. I'll think about in between those two, but we're actually just gonna YOLO it and go with the 4-piece stone skin with 5-star amulet and attack ring. This is where we're at, but getting 4-piece stone skin is so impactful. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna pray that I get like any super crappy ring or banner next week from Hydra for him. Or, you know, I probably will maybe put this build on Marius at some point, but on him or Marius, either one. But I'll go with that. I have some battles coming up that are not gonna be with this build, but this is the build that I'm gonna run on the next live arena video. Now let's actually do some battles and see how it goes. I'm definitely gonna use him on live arena tomorrow, so don't worry about that. But let's get a couple battles in and see how we do with the roster. The big issue here, I wish Barium would change this. Maybe I literally should speak with some of the community managers and try to spot my nonsense again and try to make them change the game. Not that the community managers can do it or would do it or should do it if I try about it, but we need more good champions for PvP that can do defense buff. Right now it's basically only Siphi. Outside of Siphi, like meta champions that can do defense buff, maybe like Marius, who's already a nuker himself, and not probably something that you generally use in classic arena defense, and if you do, you're already using Siphi with him anyway. Outside of that, there really isn't any good options. I am using now Mord, but Mord can't do it if you're only on Revive, not on everybody, like outside of Revive. Then, what are the most free-to-play options to actually do defense buff? There's two champions, Elicat and Mitrola. And I guess if we're gonna try out him... Wait, can we find a better team? Okay, we're gonna start out with this one and maybe work our way up. But okay, let's just do some test battles and see if we can... Actually, I need to double check. I don't know if my Mitrola has gear on right now. Oh, she does, but it's very slow. I think I stole some pieces from her. We need to make Mitrola at least 255. Yeah, I can't remember what I stole from her, but I purposefully made her slower for some content. Yeah, I stole some of her main pieces. I haven't been using it a lot. I don't even... I think I stole the piece for like... I want to say Xenogenesis. Oh, it's not on anybody right now. No, that's not the piece. What's the piece I'm thinking about? I do have like some way better class. With Ascension, I'm thinking. Anyway, we'll think about that later. Just get a little bit more speed. Okay, for the purposes of time, let's just put her in speed boots. But actually, yeah, I degeared my Mitra a couple of times, so I need to put something better on her. I guess this is good enough. Yeah, let's go with that. Now we're 259, and it's gonna be slightly faster than my Galleus. Now, obviously, clearly, we're not trying to make some meta classic arena build right now. I'm not planning to use Galleus in classic arena anyway, but we will try to use him in live arena, and maybe we can do some battles with him even without defense buff. We're definitely gonna get locked out anyway, so that's gonna be an option. And I definitely should regear my Mitrola properly for tomorrow, but what else do we want? Let's just go with Nakarada and get couple easy test battles and try to calculate the damage. Now the damage might be issue. I think we're gonna maybe run some issues there, but let's see. We're not running like another buff strip outside of him, and we don't really get, you know, damage boost from other sources, so I don't know if it's gonna be enough to actually like kill people. Now we do have defense buff, and this team isn't the most tankiest one, so let's see. On the second form, I think he has the better damage actually. Oh fuck, I misclicked. That was his defense buff skill. Okay, now we have to hit through all of their boss. 8k on A1. Not super impressive. Also, when he does the defense buff on the first form, and then if you go to the second form, which you generally want to go on that... Oh wait, we didn't have defense buff. When you go to the second form, you pretty much lose your buff anyway, so I wish he did defense buff on the second form and on a nuke skill. I think generally you often want to go to the second form instantly on him in live arena. Not that too many people are going to be using him, but if you have to use him, then you're gonna do it. I wish Live Arena was up right now, but it's not, so we can't check it. Okay, let's... I think if you go first, you definitely want to open with the decreased defense skill. But okay, let's open with the buff strip and see if we can do anything here. It reduces the duration of all of the buffs by 2 turns. But based on the wording here, which is very important, and the order always means the actual order it happens in practice, we're gonna do damage before we buff strip, so that's not gonna be the best. And we didn't really get rid of all of the buffs. I guess he has some resistance. This is like a full tank team that he has, and there's no nuker, so it's a little bit weird. Okay, I want to see on auto. Let's just run it on auto. How long does it take for us to actually kill him? Can we even kill him with Galleus? This is not the most impressive test for the first battle, granted that we are not going with Mikage or Wukong or anybody that maybe does buff strip or gives us some damage. Damn, that's not really... Okay, let's not do this battle for 10 minutes. That's not super impressive. We drop down on tier. Oh fuck, my Necret is not geared. When did I take gear away from him? Anyway, okay, let's adjust a little bit. I'm trying to think the kind of setups that I would use him in Live Arena, but let's go with Wukong instead of Necret. That way we will maybe be able to nuke without immunity buff on them and open with the decreased defense. And I'll probably put some reaction on him and sacrifice a little bit damage. After this video, when I prepare for a Live Arena. Oh fuck. We're gonna do less damage because of the decreased defense. Okay, we have to get rid of that. We can't nuke just yet. But okay, let's switch to the second form anyway. This is a squishy team. Surely we can do enough damage on the A2. Now again, attacks all enemies, but here it is worded. Before attacking, we get the decreased defense. It should do the same thing on the other skill. That would be way better. That's some pointers for Plarium to try to buff him, but he's one of those champions that even if he's buffed, might mean that he's very good on Hydra. I don't think that's gonna mean that he's gonna be meta in PvP. But okay, surely we can nuke this team. Okay, we did like 120k damage, but that was a very squishy team with decreased defense. Okay, this is a more interesting matchup. So Harima could be kind of interesting. Since we do the decreased defense, Harima is very hard for me to kill otherwise. I certainly might consider using the Rooster in these matchups, and we will actually... The decreased defense debuff is gonna work, so surely we can one-shot the Harima. Assuming that we don't get polymorphed, of course. And again, you know, we switch the form, we're gonna lose like the duration of the defense buff, which is kind of sucks. That's why we see did it himself on the second form. Okay, that's kind of impressive. I would never be able to one-shot that team with my normal strategies. I would be totally screwed with the Harima, so maybe it's gonna be a solution for the Harima teams. Can I find like one a little bit stronger team? I mean, it's, you know, Monday, so we're not high up and it's kind of hard to find. I don't want to do like 200 refreshes to find strong teams. Oh, I'm still on the middle. I don't know if that was annoying in the battles, but let's move myself to my usual spot. Anyway, that's it for the first Galleus video. I don't know what I'm gonna call this, like a Galleus guide, Galleus review, whatever. We were kind of reviewing the masteries and optimizer and everything else as well, but I guess it was like full full guide on gearing champions and Galleus. If you have any other content like this that you really want me to make videos about, then hit me in comments. I'm definitely open for recommendations. But I don't know if people are gonna be happy about like 1 hour champion gearing video. Now, think about this. If it takes me like 40 minutes to gear one champion, granted I was making video, but let's say it takes me 30 minutes to gear one champion, and I think that's very realistic. Imagine if I do a takeover and gear like 20 different champions, and then you don't need to just juggle on gearing one champion, but you need to compare the gear, like, do I want to have this gear on this champion instead of that one? And that stuff also takes time. Never mind upgrading artifacts or ascending items, which we didn't do because on my own account I have everything in order. Anyway, not to complain about that. I wanna say it almost went better than I was expecting. Obviously he's not tanky, his damage is not the most impressive one, but maybe the decreased defense debuff on a nuke that does it before attacking, maybe I can find a niche use for it against Harimo teams. Maybe that's gonna be the one way that I use him, but I really need to get him in 4-piece stone skin. I will definitely be like happy to lose a good amount of damage to get a stone skin, but we're only 1 piece off, so maybe I can get it the next week, who knows. But yeah, that's it. Hope you find this video interesting or useful, and have a nice day. See ya.